ridiculously cool science news, we just got an image of a photon for the very first time. Or did we? Most of the articles about it are saying that we now know the shape of a photon. But I went digging and I am not convinced. All of this is coming from this paper, Exact Quantum Electrodynamics of Radiative Photonic Environments. In their own words, this provides a complete quantum electrodynamic description of light-matter interactions. Scrolling through it, I noticed two things. One, there's a lot of math, and two, this image of a photon that is now everywhere doesn't show up in the actual paper. It's actually from the press release from the author's institution. One thing that is immediately clear is that this is not an actual photo. There's no experimentation in this paper, it's entirely theory, it's entirely math. This is a visualization that popped out of that math. So that's one thing to make very clear. This is not a real image, it's a visualization. Which now leads us to, how did they make this visualization? Where is this coming from? And it was shockingly hard to answer that, because the press release has no information, it's not in the actual paper. The only place I could find some level of detail was this New Atlas article that actually had an interview with the first author of the paper. And he describes this as an intensity distribution, which tells us the likelihood we'll find a photon at a given point. Now that is interesting and useful information, but describing this as the shape of a photon, to me, is a smidge misleading. Because now a lot of people are going to picture a photon, a light particle, as this vaguely lemon-shaped blob, which is incorrect. This lemon-shaped blob is a map of where you could find a photon in an environment where it's interacting with silicon. And that is a very important difference. But it's not something that was made clear in the press release, so it's not something that's made clear in any of these follow-up articles, which is disappointing, because that's not what the article does. The article provides a really cool and novel mathematical solution for a quantum mechanical problem. It allows us to predict the intensity distribution of an interacting photon on a range of scales that hasn't super been possible before. But now what people are going to take away from the article is that they took an image of an individual photon, which they did not do. And all this points to a wider problem with how science is communicated. It is hard to translate really technical scientific papers for a general audience. But when you don't do it fully and you don't explain what you're looking at properly, things get out of hand. And it's bad for science and it's bad for everybody. We can do better.